Have you ever noticed that some of the biggest problems in life aren't actually problems? They're stories. Stories we tell ourselves. Stories we repeat so often that they start feeling like reality. What if the thing exhausting you isn't your situation, but the way you're carrying it? This is the story of a man who spent years trying to fix his life, only to discover that his life didn't need fixing. It needed simplifying, and that realization changed everything. Ethan was tired, not the kind of tired that sleep could solve, a deeper kind, the kind that sits quietly behind your eyes, the kind that follows you into every room. Every morning began the same way. His alarm rang, his mind raced. Bills, career, relationships, future, mistakes, things he should have done, things he should be doing. His body would leave bed, but his mind had already run a marathon. To everyone else, Ethan looked fine. He had a job, a small apartment, friends he occasionally met. Nothing seemed terribly wrong, yet inside he felt like he was drowning. The strange part was that he couldn't explain why. Every problem seemed connected to another problem. Every decision felt dangerous. Every choice carried invisible consequences. Life felt like a giant puzzle with missing pieces, and no matter how hard he tried, he could never solve it. Months became years. Ethan read books, watched videos, made plans, created schedules, bought journals, started over dozens of times. Each new system promised clarity. Each new method promised control. But somehow everything became more complicated. His notebook filled with goals, yet his heart remained empty. His calendar became organized, yet his thoughts became chaotic. One evening he sat alone at his kitchen table. A cold cup of coffee rested beside him. Sheets of paper covered the table. Financial plans, life goals, 5-year visions, daily habits, improvement strategies. He stared at them all. Then something unexpected happened. He felt exhausted, not because of life's problems, because of the endless effort of managing them. For a moment, a strange question appeared in his mind. What if I am not trapped by my problems? What if I am trapped by my need to control everything? The question unsettled him, so he ignored it, at least at first, but it kept returning, quietly, patiently, like a knock on a locked door. #breaking point. A few weeks later, Ethan received disappointing news. A promotion he had hoped for went to someone else. The old Ethan would have spiraled. He would have analyzed every conversation, every mistake, every possibility. Days of overthinking would follow. But something was different. That night he took a long walk. The city lights shimmered across wet streets. Cold air brushed against his face. For the first time in years, he stopped trying to solve everything. He simply walked and listened, not to podcasts, not to advice, to his own thoughts. What he heard surprised him. Most of his suffering wasn't coming from reality. It was coming from resistance. Life said one thing. His expectations said another. Life changed. He demanded certainty. Life became messy. He demanded perfection. Life became unpredictable. He demanded control. And every demand created tension. Every tension created pain. He suddenly realized he had spent years fighting life itself. No wonder he was exhausted. The next morning, Ethan made a decision. Not a dramatic one, a simple one. He stopped adding complexity. When a problem appeared, he asked one question. What is the simplest next step? Not 10 steps. Not the perfect solution. Just the next step. When he felt overwhelmed, he stopped forecasting the next 5 years. He focused on today. When mistakes happened, he stopped building stories around them. He accepted them, learned, moved forward. Something remarkable began happening. The problems didn't disappear, but they became lighter because he stopped carrying yesterday and tomorrow at the same time. Relationships improved, not because people changed, because he stopped overanalyzing every interaction. Work improved, not because work became easier, because he gave his energy to action instead of endless mental debates. The world around him stayed mostly the same. Yet his experience of life transformed completely. And that was the lesson nobody had ever taught him. Healing isn't always about adding something. Sometimes healing begins when you stop adding things that don't belong. Extra fears, extra stories, extra pressure, extra expectations. Years later, Ethan looked back at the person he used to be. The man who believed every problem required a complicated answer. The man who carried the weight of a future that hadn't happened yet. The man who confused overthinking with responsibility. And he felt compassion, because he finally understood something. Life is already difficult enough. We don't need to make it heavier. Many of us spend years searching for the perfect solution, the perfect plan, the perfect moment, while life quietly waits for us to notice something simpler, the next breath, the next step, the next small act of courage. Maybe that's where healing begins. Not when life becomes easy, but when we stop turning every challenge into a battle. If this story reminded you of something in your own life, hold on to that feeling. And tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one question. What am I making more complicated than it needs to be? The answer might be smaller than you expect, and it might just change everything.